I'm Bob. I like coffee. I also like to tell stories. So, here at the Bobcast Coffee, it's time for a coffee break. So, take a coffee break with me and pour yourself a cup of your favorite Joe. By the time you're done with your coffee, you'll know something about me you really didn't need to know. But you'll have fun learning it. Just remember, my stories are true. For the most part. Today's episode brought to you by JM Insurance. The insurance mamas in Mustang, Oklahoma will get you covered. Whether it be home, auto, business, they have the answers for your insurance questions. Call JM Insurance at 405 353 0140. Talk to the insurance mamas and get your insurance taken care of today. 405 353 0140. JM Insurance in beautiful Mustang, Oklahoma. Today, once again, I'm enjoying my coffee with a pirate theme. This is a go-to cup now. You just gotta love the skull and crossbones. But I am drinking Scars and Stripes today out of a tea bag. Yes, it's a steeped bag of coffee, and it works quite well. Not the cheapest way to buy your coffee, the steep bag. But I will tell you, they last forever. You can store them. They're single serve bags that will make up to 3 cups of coffee each. It's not too shabby. Today, first episode in the year 2023. We're looking at episode 40. And episode 40 is about Mexican bullfights. If you are in the mindset that cruelty to animals is bad, well, you're right. But that doesn't stop the fact that there is a thing called bullfights. And on my 31st birthday, I sat in an arena in Mazatlan, Mexico, watching a bullfight. Is it something I need to do again? Probably not. But it was a unique and interesting experience. It all started a year before. I had won at a raffle a week stay at a condo in Mazatlan, Mexico. Never been out of the country except for maybe a short little stint across the border at Texas. So a week, pretty cool. At the time, I had invited my brother to go, but that had that whole situation for him, his new wife, everything it didn't pan out well for them. So we're looking at a year later. I've got a couple of weeks before, I lose out on this condo stay. And I'm sitting there having dinner one evening with some friends of mine, Bob and Arlene Oltman. And we were getting ready to head to a Bible study. And Arlene had made the statement to her husband, Bob, that some friends had to back out on their trip to Mexico. So, with it being so late and trying to rearrange everything, let's just cancel the whole thing. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where does this sound familiar? So I said, if you're not going to, your place in Mexico, I've only got a couple of weeks left. You want to go to Mazatlan and spend a week there seeing the sights? Well, Bob said, never been to Mazatlan, so why not? Whirlwind time. A lot of stuff had to happen. Bought airline tickets, got ourselves squared away. Bob and Arlene and I pack up, hop on a plane at LAX, and we take off to Mazatlan. Fascinating place. Very tourist. So we come landing into Mazatlan, and that's a whole experience in itself, flying into a foreign country. I don't speak any Spanish. Come to find out, Bob speaks muy poquito. So we go rushing, find ourselves a taxi, and head out to find this condo. Nice place, by the way. It was 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. It was a big place. So we had lots of room, and it was right down on the beach. But that's not where this story goes. On the drive, we passed this Coliseum-looking place. And Bob asks the driver, what is that? Because there's people walking toward it. And in broken English, it's explained that today is the day of the bullfights. Well, it happens to be March 19th, 1994. This happens to be my 31st birthday. We landed into Mazatlan. And Bob looks at me and Arlene and says, have you ever been to a bullfight? I said, I've never been to a bullfight. Let's go to a bullfight. So we talked the taxi driver into stopping at the condo. We run out. We throw everything into the condo. Just right in the front door, lock the door, and we're back in that taxi, heading out. So we get there, and the way the stands are set, it is just like what you would see on a TV show. Big round building, and like a miniature football or a miniature soccer stadium. Think of it that way. And where the sun is hitting, it is hot. So there's very few people sitting across from us. But where we're sitting, the stands are starting to fill up because we're already in the shade. So we get in there, we got to find ourselves some good seats. So we work our way down to the front, and we set up. We are literally one seat up from the wall. And you can look over the wall, right where we're sitting, and see there's 2 walls inside of a bull ring. The inner wall, which is where it goes out onto the dirt, and that's where the bullfight happens. And then there's this secondary wall, so you can walk behind the first wall, and that's where everybody hangs out. The different coaches, the different matadors, they keep all their stuff back there, so easy to grab. But when you're talking about close to the action, we didn't realize just how close to the action is. Now, bullfights, pro and con. Think of it this way. People can eat meat in Mazatlan. The townspeople, the people that live there, really cheap. So, but why? Why is it so cheap? Well, the bullfights subsidize the sale of the meat. So you have not only the money that's brought in at the gate, but the bulls themselves, that will be part of the meat for the week that is sold in the town. So there's a lot of economic reasons for a bullfight. Like I said, whether I agree or disagree with them, that's not the point. The point is, it's a system that has developed. So we go in, we're sitting there getting ready, and what do? You order 3 beers. So Bob turns around, finds a vendor walking up and down, just like at a baseball game, and he says, "Trey, cerveza, por favor." Come to find out, that's about the full extent of Bob's Spanish. But it worked. Boom, 3 beers pop up. And we're sitting there enjoying our beer. And they come out and they do the opening parades. And I've always wanted to say that there were 3 bullfights that day, but there wasn't. There was 4. So the way it's set up is you've got like the beginner, the kid that is brand new in the sport. And he's finally gotten to the point where he can actually perform. And so he starts off the show. Then you've got the basic, like, top of the class type guy. Then you have your local hometown hero. This is the guy that has made a name for himself here in town. So as far as Mazatlan goes, the third bill on this fight today is the top kid of the town. And then the last person is he's a national bullfighter, and they do tours. And think of it like a band going around concerts. So you've got your opening acts, which is more of a local stuff, and then you have the big name come in and do their show. The first kid comes out after the parade. They come out and everybody takes their bows. And he comes out and starts doing the Toreador. And you can tell, brand new. A little nervous, but he's pulling through. He's not letting that bull get real close, but he's doing his job. And he turns for a while. Then you have the picador stage. All right, so you have the Toreador, and that's where you have the cape, and you turn the bull back and forth. And then you have the picador. The picador is where things became a little real for Bob. You don't use a cape. You have these like little spears. They're pretty darn big. And you let the bull charge you, and then you jump out of the way at the last second. And the idea is to pick these spears into the bull. And every pass you add 2 more, and you add 2 more. Now the idea of this is to weaken the bull for the final stage. But this kid's not real good at this. And so eventually, his coach comes out, boom, 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 finishes off, I think, the last 2 picks. And then the bull is out running around in the field there, or in the ring. And the kid gets his cape and his sword, and this is the matador stage. And this is where you have to actually kill the bull. So he gets out there, coach is, talking him up. Everybody leaves him. He's out there now alone with the bull. He's got the little cape. It's not the big cape that you see the Toreador in the beginning. This is a small cape. And that bull runs, finally charges him, and he stabs the bull. And he really ticked that bull off. So he tries again. Gets the bull's attention, bull charges, stabs the bull. Bull is just furious, but is not dead and is really getting violent. So after like 4 attempts, the bull is finally this is starting to get really kind of bloody, kind of intense. Happy birthday, Bob. And so the bull finally comes in and gets close enough, and the kid, you can just see, it's just like everything he's got. He's trying his hardest, and he stabs the bull, and the bull goes down, but the bull doesn't die. And it is in pain, and there's blood everywhere. Now, they've been doing bullfights for a long time, so they have an answer to any situation. And this one, the coach comes out. You can see this is a big guy, old man, beard. And he comes out and he's got a little hook knife and he's going to kill the bull. And he does that, and it's just, it's literally grab the horns and kill the bull. Except, did I mention that we were really, really close? So, the three of us are sitting there watching this happen. Like, less than 15 feet in front of us. And I'm aghast. I really am. This was a little bit more than I bargained for. And blood goes everywhere. It is just a mess. And they come out to take care of the bull, and they're going to pull the bull out and all that stuff. And I turn slowly, and I look over to Bob. So you've got Bob Altman on one side, Arlene sitting between us, and I'm sitting on the other side. I look over at Bob, and we both look over at Arlene, and Arlene has gone completely white. And Bob looks at me, and I figure, I'm probably not looking much better. And Bob looks at the two of us, and in Bob Altman fashion, turns around and goes, Tres más Cervantes, or Tres más cervezas, por favor. And the lady that was selling the beer comes down and she gives us the beers, looks at Arlene, and then was there. She came back about every 5 to 10 minutes with more beer at that point. She was going to get the gringos through this fight one way or the other. Now, the good news is that was the most gory thing I think I've ever seen in life. Next to a couple of car wrecks in my life. And a couple of coyotes. Outside of that, this was pretty brutal. And we're very seriously thinking about getting up and going. And the next guy comes out. And, well, let's not be rude. We'll sit through this one. And like I said, this is like the top-notch kid in the class. And he does a really good job. And he does his turning. He does a couple of picks. And then he does a stab. And I think it took him twice. But I mean, he did a fine job. And we're like, okay. And the fact that most of the action took place on the other side of the ring made us feel a little bit better. Okay, we're going to hang in here. Then comes the third guy. The third guy is, he is the top in the region. He's the Mazatlan hero. And he comes out and the crowds love him. And they're hooting and hollering, having a good time. And about this time, I think we're about like on our 4th or 5th round of beer. And we're getting some color back in us. We're going to be okay. So, kid gets out there and he knows what he's doing. And he gets out there and he gets his Turador. And he is going for it. You can tell he really enjoys what he's doing. And he's bringing that bull in close. Those horns are just grazing right past, his uniform, that armor that they wear. And he brings it through, and the crowds are going crazy for this. And he does another pass. He does a backwards pass. He's doing all sorts of fancy little stuff. Glad I stayed for this. Because even though it is what it is, being a bullfight, it was unique seeing someone enjoying their craft, enjoying the art form that this was. And then something went wrong. This poor kid, he's got his leg kicked out. He's got his shoulder way over his knee, and he's pulling this bull through. And the bull, as he's coming through the cape, steps on the back of this kid's calf. Now, a bull is huge. So you think about what you've seen on TV, they're bigger. These things are huge. and drops this kid. Bull, full weight, just stepped on your leg. You go down. Well, the bull realizes something's up. And he turns and he sees this kid on the ground, so he goes to gore the kid. The horns are going to stab the kid. So that bull raises up. I did not know this at the time. When a bull gores, they close their eyes. Well, their weapons are right here. So they close their eyes, so dirt, dust, blood doesn't go, blinding them. So every time that bull raises up and dives his head down, the kid rolls into the bull's legs. And then the bull has to kick him out and then get situated and gore again. And he rolls back in. The bull hits the dirt. And the bull just keeps kicking him out, kicking him out. And he does this 3 or 4 times before all the other matadors and coaches and all this stuff, they come flying around the wall and they get the bull's attention. And I mean, they're slapping it, they're getting their capes all in the face, and they finally get this bull away from the kid. And we're watching him. He can't stand up. This kid's leg is just sliced open. So they literally grab him and drag him out of the ring. I never thought I'd see a bull fight so hard to win a fight. I never thought I'd see a bullfight. So they pull him off, and these 2 old men are at the far end of the ring from us. And they've got the bull. And they just keep going, hey! And the bull turns and charges, and the guy just... And they're watching, seeing what's happening to the kid. The other guy goes, hey! And the bull turns and charges over there. And they just turning the bull back and forth between the 2 of them, watching over here. A guy on the horse comes out and, talks to him. And while they're turning this bull, actually, those guys were really good. So we're watching everything happen. And their coach, the old man, big belly, still fitting in all that armor though, and he comes walking out and he does the picador. And it is pick. The guy has got to be in his 70s. And he still jumping and diving over this bull, doing a wonderful job, and he's got this perfect row of picks right down the back of this bull. So the picador stage is done, the matador stage is obviously done, and it's time for the tirador, it's time for the matador. And the old man's got his cape, and here comes the kid. And he comes walking out, and he's got his cape, he's got his sword, and he comes out, and he's, you can't hear anything, but you can tell there's conversations going on. And the kid's like, hey, don't worry, I got this. All right? And everybody leaves the ring. So now this bull is just making big circles, snorting. I don't know what kind of noise it is. It's almost like a bark, that the bull is doing. Obviously, he's ready for the fight. And the kid ignores the bull. And he lays his little cape out, puts his sword there, rolls it up a little bit. He is just being perfect. And the whole time, I'm sitting there with my beer, and I'm sitting there going, that kid's leg is bleeding. They haven't patched it. They haven't tied it off. They haven't done a stitch. Nothing. It's like he's ignoring the whole fact that his leg is opened up. And he gets his sword ready, and he looks up at the judges. There are judges at a bullfight, and they were sitting directly behind us. So when he looks up at the judges, Bob, Arlene, and myself, we all go, and we all look up at the judges. And the judges talk to each other, and the lead guy puts his hand up, gives him the thumbs up. You may proceed. And the kid just sits there, and you can see him. He turns, looks at the bull, and then, this is not, I know nothing about etiquette in a bullfight, but the kid just turns, looks at the bull, and goes, hey! And that bull just stops, turns, looks at that kid, and charges. And this is full on. This is exactly what you would think a bull charging would look like, and it's fast. And this thing just comes in, and the kid never moves. He still has his feet planted. He's still body aimed more toward the judges than to the bull. And when that bull gets close enough, that sword just goes whoop, whoop, and that bull drops right at his feet. Dust settles. Bull is dead. Kid is standing there. And you can then see that he's not actually putting weight on the bad leg. This whole time, he's been cheating and keeping his weight on his good leg. He's finished. He takes his bow. Everybody, the local fans, are going absolutely bonkers. They are just amazed. Arlene, Bob, and I are like, well, we don't know what we just watched, but that was pretty impressive to us. So the big guy comes out. This is the national guy comes out, and he does his bull. And he is really good. And he does his Turador, he does his Picador, and then he does a single shot Matador. Boom. He is obviously, this guy makes a lot of money because he is that good. But the judges award ears and tail for a Matador. Those are the award levels. So you might win an ear. You might win 2 ears. You might do so good, they'll give you 2 ears and a tail. Don't know why that ever came about, but that's the way they grade that. The top guy there, the national guy, got an ear and a tail. Have no idea where that sits in some sort of hierarchy. The kid they got mangled got 2 ears and a tail. And it was really cool because at the very end, the guy comes out and they shake hands. You know, the national guy and this kid. And it was a very fascinating time. But it was also brutal. And it was, like I said, don't think I'll ever need to do it again. But for your 31st birthday, it was an interesting day. Enjoy your coffee.